So we had a look about temp data. Now arises the picture for flash data. See, the basic concept between the temp data and flash data with respect to CodeIgniter is in same manner. There is some kind of a difference, and that we will analyze in this chapter. First thing, while building the web application, okay, we need to store some data for only one time, and after that we want to remove data. Such a scenario, okay, of storing a data at one time and then removing the data, such kind of scenarios are possible with the help of flash data. So flash data is a kind of a concept which is used in CodeIgniter. Considering for a typical PHP frameworks, okay, apart from PHP, you consider for core PHP framework in such scenario, flash data is not used, but CodeIgniter keeps this picture of flash data where it shows only that particular data for a period of time. Consider, for example, like, do you want to display some kind of an error message or an information message in PHP? So in PHP, we have to do it manually for core PHP, but in CodeIgniter, we do it with the help of flash data. Now in CodeIgniter, flash data will be available until next request. So it's like temp data only. For a particular period of time, it will be available. The error message will be displayed. And once that particular request has been passed or we ask for the next request, the previous request will not be available. It will be deleted automatically. So that is the main thing. So in CodeIgniter, flash data will be only available, okay? Only will be available until the next request. So it is like having a kind of a single threaded process if you keep it in mind. So it's like one process is completed, the next process starts, then you can move to the previous process. So that kind of functionality is there for flash data, okay? And it will be deleted automatically, okay? Once you create a new flash data or move into the some other set of flash data, then it will be automatically deleted. Okay, so let's move on to our code base where we'll create the similar kind of the thing like we did for temp data, a controller and a view, and there we will have how the functionalities are implemented. Okay, for flash data, the different set of method is used. Like in temp data, we had mark as temp data. Here in flash data, it will be mark as flash, and we will call, like for temp data, we call like set underscore temp data. In flash data, we'll say set underscore flash data. So we'll move to our code base where we'll create a controller and a view. So this will give a better picture like what is flash data all about. Now let's move into our code base. Here we'll create first of all a new controller for flash data. So flash data will have the same logic as the temp data. So inside controllers, I'll create a name of the file as flash data underscore controller. So it will be flash data underscore controller. Okay, so this will create it. Now if we will create a unique identity for the controller the way we did for the previous examples. The best example was for temp data. So here I'll say PHP. Inside this I'll mention class as flash data underscore controller, and it will extend my CI controller. So I'll say extends CI controller. So first of all, I'll do the same way I did it over here. So it's like flash data. So it is already existing in my system. So it's better that we keep the flash data the same way with the new file name. So I'll say flash data controller.php. So here I'm going to save it as .php extension. So that is also a very important concept. So extends CI underscore controller, that is our main file for creating the controller. Okay. So I have done this declaration of the class name. Now the next thing is declaring a function. So that is public function index, which is the default function. Okay, inside this I'm going to load a session library. So loading up a session library is also a primary task. So I'll say load, and inside that I'm going to say load session library. So this is my first step, and inside that I'm going to load it. So I'll say $this load library, and the library loaded will be session as I'm calling for the flash data. The way similar thing we did for temp data, the same thing we are going to follow over here. with the various variable declaration of the key value pair. So I've loaded the session library. After loading up the session library, it is important to load a view. So that's why this section will be for redirection to view. So I'll mention in the comment, so that is redirection to home page. So home page redirection will be done with the help of a view, that is loading up a view. $this load view flash data underscore home. So this is my redirection to the view. So this is mentioned over here. After that, I'm going to add a function. So my function will be for adding up the values. So I'll say public. So it is under public function add. Here I will do the similar concept, like first thing will be loading up my session library. So I'll say load session library, and inside that I'll call for my session library, that is $this load session. So it is a library, so it is under library. I'll call for session. After loading up the session, the next step, which is very important, is to call for a URL. So I'll say a URL parameter will be called with the help of a helper. Helper understanding we'll do in the further chapters. It is an advanced concept in CodeIgniter. So helper. Then next thing is adding up the flash data. The way we did for temp data, set underscore temp data, here it will be set underscore flash data. So we will follow the same functionality as $this with $this session set underscore flash data. So I'll follow the same logic over here. And here I'll call for the key value pair. So here it will be first thing, the name. I'm going to give something different. We gave item value in our previous chapter. Now it will be XYZ and the value will be XYZ flash value. So this is my value, and it will, the next step after declaring the key value pair is redirection to home page. So here I'll mention through a comment that it is redirect to home page. Okay, so this is done. After that I'll say redirect, and the redirect function will call for flash data. So that's all I've done with the controller logic. After that, it is important to create a view. We have already called a view with a flash data underscore home. So we'll call this view. First of all, we'll save this file, a new file under views folder. So views folder is over here, and inside this I'll say flash data underscore home dot php. So this creates my view folder. So inside view, I'll call for it. This view folder should be already like the folder should have your complete file existence in it. So here I'll call for my doc type. So that is doc type HTML, and it will say HTML tag with parameters as head. Inside head, I'm going to say a parameter of meta cassette. So I'll say meta cassette as UTF-8. So this is my cassette I'm going to specify. And inside that I'll mention the title of my head tag. So title will be like it is a flash data example. So I'll give the same title over here the way we did for temp data. So it will be CodeIgniter flash data example. Okay. So this is done. After creating the head tag, the next section we always do is to create a body tag. So inside body tag, I'll say flash data example. So that is flash data example. So there I'll say h2 tag, and inside h2 tag I'm going to call for the flash data item. So I will do the same thing over here, that is echo $this session flash data. It should be session, you should be specific with that perspective. session flash data and the item we should call for the key value. We called item in our previous example. Now the key value is xyz. So xyz should call for the xyz value, that is xyz flash value, which we declared in the controller section. Now we will do for an anchor tag, that is a href, and I'll call for flash data add functionality. So I'll say flash data add, the way we did for temp data add. So add functionality was already included in my controller, so I'll say flash data add. After this, I'll give a value that we are going to click here, so that is click here. So this is for to adding up the flash data, to add flash data. Okay, so this is done. So this was the complete logic for understanding for views part. After declaring views and controller, it is important to declare the routes the way we did for temp data. So here I'll say $route and the value will be flash data, as we are calling for flash data controller, so it should be flash data. So this gives me the picture of flash data controller, the same we did for temp data controller. And after that I'll say $route. The next function is for adding up, so I'll say flash data add, which will call for flash data underscore controller, and the function in which I'll call will be add. So it is nothing but the add functionality. So that's all we did. So we declared inside the route section, we declared a view and as well as the controller. The next step as usual is to implement my value in the browser, like implementing my code base in the browser section. So this is my browser. So here I'll call for the flash data. So here I'll call for flash data with the routes as flash data. So now I've got the same thing the way we did for temp data. On clicking here, I'm getting a value xyz flash value, the value which we declared. So this was the similar functionality the way we did for temp data. The only difference over here is that if you have any sort of error message to be defined over here, so that is easily depicted in this flash data example. So flash data and temp data go synchronously hand in hand, but the major difference is that temp data is used for fetching up the temporary value. On the other hand, flash data is used for showing up the error messages and fetching up the temporary values as well. So this was the major concept for flash data in CodeIgniter web framework, like how it is handled and how it is maintained.